Hey guys, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. We're going to talk about the brow ends. I've talked about this a few times, but you know what? I always get asked by some of you guys, how do you draw in the ends and how does it last? How do you keep the makeup on all day? Okay, so if you have medical conditions like thyroid, alopecia, gosh, even going through chemotherapy, there's so many reasons, right, that you lose so much hair. And if you have thyroid, this is the end of the eyebrow, and even other medical conditions can make the ends just fall out. If you're oily, you're gonna have the color come off much sooner than someone that's more on the dry side. You hold on to it a bit longer. I've done a few tutorials on using the waterproof pomade, and this is really the best way to keep your the end of the eyebrow on as long as you can, because it's waterproof. It really does help, and it's not foolproof, okay? But if you don't have a tattoo like myself, I had to cover it up a little bit with some concealer so I can demonstrate for you guys. But if you don't have that, then waterproof dip brow is really the best product you can use to make sure that you get some color staying on as long as possible. Okay, so I'm going to use the Dip Brow by Anastasia Beverly Hills, and I love her pomades because she's got a lot of colors, and so guarantee you there will be one that fits you. You can always get two and mix it if you want to. Okay, I'm using ebony, and I'm using brush number, I believe it's 12. Make sure you use the same brush for something that's wet or creamy. Don't use a dry brush because you want to use that separately. Okay, so there's a tip for you right there. Okay, so I'm just using a tiny bit, blending it out from the brush on the cap. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate for you guys on one side of the eyebrow, and make sure that the brush stays nice and sharp. And how you do that is you want to make sure that, because a lot of the product ends up getting real thick right at that base, right at that lower part where the metal is. So you can either use your hand or a tissue. You can grab any kind of tissue and just go right over it as if you're taking it off, so that way the base isn't so thick. Okay, so the end of the eyebrow. Now you guys know by now, if you're following me, if you guys have watched a lot of my tutorials, you know that I don't like my ends to drag too low. You don't want the eyes to drag down. You want a brow lift. You want your face to have a little natural lift, just with makeup, of course. And so by dragging the ends straight down, oops, just kind of marked my skin already. Okay, so by dragging the ends straight down, you can drag the eye down. So you always have to reach like the tip of your ear, going like if you're just moving it straight across, but that way you get more of a straighter, fuller look as opposed to drag down full look. Does that make sense? Okay, so right here, I just want to tap very lightly, because remember, I just put a little bit of makeup on there. Right over here. And notice that it's not that long. It doesn't really need to be, especially when you're getting older. I'm 55 years old, so I like my brows to be full, but I also want that end to be lifted. So it fits, I think, on most people. Okay, so I'm just adding a little bit of color. Now the pomade can be very intense. It's creamy, so it can be a little intimidating. But if you start in the ends, or if you just apply it in the ends, now assuming you already have some color up in the front, right? I sometimes will use a pomade and a powder. I have powder up in the front of the eyebrow, so you guys can do that really, because the end is probably where you don't have as much hair. Remember, wherever you have hair, if you put powder or pencil on top of your brow hair, it'll stay on longer because there's something there to grab onto, right? When you have bare skin, like myself, you're gonna want a pomade to just last. It just sticks onto the skin much better. Okay, so I'm just building it. By that, I mean just making it a little thicker. But again, I'm just careful not to drag the tail down, and I'm just going further out. And if you guys wanted a sharper end, I always use a pinky just to go right over it. Sharp end right there. Okay, so I hope that's making sense. I'm not going to do too much, because the point is for you guys to really see that if you use a product like a pomade, especially the one I just used, it would really stay on much longer. And so again, it's not it's waterproof but not foolproof. And until you're ready to do anything more like a tattoo, that's obviously that's more of a commitment, this is really the best solution. I hope that helped, and please let me know if it did. Please subscribe, and yeah, if there's any more questions, please let me know, and I will see you guys next time. Thank you.